Hello and welcome to your next Maths Wizard video. This time we're going to be looking at subtraction, particularly obviously without a calculator here. So we'll be looking at calculating subtractions with whole numbers first before moving on to decimal numbers. So I'm just going to give you a few examples to start with. So we're going to look at this whole number example first. So we've got 432 minus 39 here. So it's very similar to addition in that we need to line up our digits correctly. So we need to make sure we've got our units in the right place, our tens, and then our hundreds. So if you want to make it a bit easy, you can put a little bit of zero there as well to help you with this. So in terms of the layout, it's very similar to addition. Where it gets a little bit trickier is like this. So if we look at our units column, we've got 2 minus 9 there. Now if we were just doing 2 minus 9, we'd obviously get a negative answer. But here we're doing 432 minus 39. So the way that we go about doing this is borrowing, what's known as borrowing from the tens column. So if we borrow 1 from there, this then becomes a 2, and we move that 1 to here. So now instead of doing 2 take away 9, we're doing 12 take away 9, which will give us 3. Now the problem here is we've then got 2 take away 3. So now we borrow from here. So that 4 then becomes a 3, and we move that 1 to here, and we do 12 take away 3, which will give us 9. And then this makes our last our hundreds column a little bit more straightforward. We're doing 3 take away 0, and that will give us 3. Okay, next one. We've got two slightly larger numbers here. So we've got 2,860 minus 613. So once again, we lay everything out nicely so that you've got the units, the tens, the hundreds, and then the thousands just there. So if we start with our units, well, we can't do 0 take away 3 here. So we borrow 1 from here. This becomes 5. We move that 1 there. So now we're doing 10 take away 3. That will give us 7. Then we've got 5 minus 1 here, which is 4. 8 minus 6, which is 2. And then 2 take away 0, which is 2, to give us our final answer of 2,247. So just to kind of summarize here, when you're doing the larger numbers like this, it's just about borrowing. If you find borrowing from the left, so if you find that the top number is smaller than the bottom number, we borrow from here. So this then becomes a 2-digit number, essentially. Okay, so let's have a little go at this then. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. So here you go. If you pause your video, and then you can take a look at these 3 examples, and then start it again, and you can check whether you're on the right track. Okay, great. Here are your answers to these 3 questions then. So if you want to check those through, and then we will take a look at the decimal examples. Okay, here's your first decimal example then. So here we've got 63 minus 21.4. So you might see this sort of sum maybe in perhaps a money-based problem in particular, perhaps. But there's not a massive amount of difference. We've just got to make sure that we've got the decimal point in the right place. So when you do it, if you've got a whole number and you're subtracting a decimal, it might be quite useful to write a 0 after your decimal point there. So what we've now got is 63 minus 21.4, and the process is essentially the same. So in our tenths column here, so after our decimal point, this column is always known as the tenths, and then we go into hundredths and thousands and so on. We're going to borrow from here. So this 3 becomes a 2. We move that there, and we're now doing 10 take away 4, which will give us 6. Make sure you write your point in there. Then nice and easy now. 2 take away 1 gives you 1. 6 take away 2 gives you 4. It's essentially that it's not that much different to doing it with whole numbers. You've just got to really be careful to line up your decimal point in the right place and make sure you get all your place values correctly in the same way that you would do with whole number. So if we have a look at another one, we've got this one here then. We've got 32.29 minus 18.49. So if we do this now, so write our 32.29 on the top, for 18.49 on the bottom. Obviously, it's really important here you make sure that you put the correct number on the top. So the main way in which subtraction is different to addition is you've got to make sure you get the numbers in the right order. With addition, it doesn't matter. You can write them any way around. So if we then take a look at this, then 30.29 minus 18.49, we've got 9 minus 9, which is 0. Then we've got 2 take away 4. So this is where this one gets a little bit complicated because we can't borrow from here at the moment because there's nothing there. There's a 0 there. So we borrow from the start here. That 3 becomes a 2. We move that to here. Then we've got a 10 here. So we've got to borrow that one again from there. So it becomes a 9. We then move our 1 here. So now this number becomes a 12. So we do 12 take away 4. That will give you 8. Pop your decimal point in there. 9 take away 8 will give you 1. And 2 take away 1 will give you 1. So your answer there is 11.8. If this was a money-based question, you would have to leave that as £11.80 or $11.80 if you're in America or Australia or somewhere else perhaps. Okay, there we got 3 questions. Just have a little bit of practice of that. So pause your video and have a go. Okay, and here are your correct answers to these questions. So hopefully you found this video useful. There are obviously lots of other resources online if you do want to do a little bit more practice on this. So websites like Corbett Maths, Maths Genie, things like that will have lots and lots of resources where you can find lots of similar questions to these. To obviously help you practice this further, because your arithmetic is really important for that paper 1. So making sure you know how to do sums without a calculator. Do not take that for granted, because that will, if your arithmetic is good, that will get you the marks you need on that paper 1. That will certainly help anyway. If you like this video though, please hit subscribe, and I'll be uploading loads more over the next few months. I'm going to try and cover the majority of the GCSE Maths Foundation syllabus. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.